welcome to my sofa.
Why, thank you. Coming to you from Toronto, Canada, T-Dot. Very excited to be here with my beautiful, beautiful friend. Please tell everybody who you are and how we met.
My name is Teva, and I was on an adventure trip with Yak, and we climbed to the top of Gross Mourne together.
We did.
Which was no small feat.
It wasn't, but you pretty much left all of us in the dust.
Dust.
That's what I remember. Let's talk about how we ended up at a cancer retreat together. I know how I got there. How did you get there? What was happening in your life before the big C word came along?
I used to be the Director of Marketing for the Nature Conservancy of Canada, which was an awesome job. Really, really, really passionate about the work that NCC does. Loved being part of it. Could not do the work when I was diagnosed. Mm-hmm. Because I went from 0 to stage 4. Like I didn't, not that it's easy to hear the word that you have cancer at any stage, but to go from thinking, oh, I'm ahead in my career, I'm doing well, my husband and I just bought a house, things were right on track, mm-hmm. and then to find out that I had terminal cancer really threw me for a loop. And I wasn't talking to anybody about it. I didn't go to support groups. I didn't want to. I didn't want to make other friends with cancer. I didn't want to connect with anybody. I didn't understand the value. But I wanted to get access to my online records at my hospital. Mm-hmm. And in order to do that, I had to meet with a psychotherapist. And so she talked to me, and she talked to me about where I was in terms of not wanting to talk. But that she sort of teased out of me that I wanted to travel and I wanted to have experiences. And she knew about Yak. Mm-hmm. And she thought this would be a very sneaky, very smart way to get Teva talking to other people. Yes. And connecting and getting that understanding that you can only get from other people mm-hmm. who know what the experience is like.
Absolutely.
And so I signed up. But it was amazing because it got me talking, mm-hmm. it got me listening, mm-hmm. and it helped get me through to a place where I was both able to talk to other people with cancer and able to talk to people in my life mm-hmm. who I hadn't told that I had cancer.
Wow.
You know?
How did you discover your cancer?
I found a lump. I'd been going to the hospital because of back pain. Mm-hmm. They had been not scanning me. Mm-hmm. They just kept giving me painkillers and sending me on my way. Right. And eventually I found a lump in my breast and went to get it looked at. Ultrasound, biopsy, it all happened really fast. They told me I had stage 3 breast cancer. Mm-hmm. And then a week later my scan results from my bone scan came in and I had bone mets. Mm. So I had about a week, technically 10 days of thinking that I had a potentially curable cancer. Mm-hmm. And then I found out that I had no longer curable cancer.
Right. That's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Just talk to us for a little bit about some of the things that you feel like cancer's taken from you.
Well, a few months before I found out that I had cancer, David and I decided, finally after many years of marriage, that we were going to try and have kids. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the first things that cancer took from me. I have hormone-positive cancer, mm-hmm. so I had to have an ovarectomy and have my ovaries removed mm-hmm. as part of my treatment. Mm-hmm. My job, I loved that job, mm-hmm. but when I got sick and when I found out that the median survival was only 2 or 3 years, the idea of 5-year forecasting for an organization, even one I believed in, was too painful. It took away a sense, true or not, that I had all the time in the world.
When I think of somebody whose life was thrown off course by cancer, and they rode that wave in the absolute most beautiful best way possible, you pop into my head because you have just taken this storm and this garbage and you've recycled it into so many incredible things. So let's talk about that. There's been some loss, but there have been some ways that you've been able to positively contribute to the world around you. So let's chat a little bit about that. What are some of the things that you've been able to do that this weird thing you never would have chosen, but you're dealing with, has afforded you the opportunity to do?
When I was trying to sort out the complicated emotions related to my diagnosis and the changes in my life expectations, I started doing these drawings. They initially were like fussy little sketches of the stories of my life because things were getting churned up. Things like bad ways I'd felt when I was young that had a similar feeling to the bad ways that cancer made me feel. I initially started drawing those stories, and then those stories morphed into drawings about the good things in my childhood, little comics of happy memories. And then I went on another yak retreat.
The yak retreats, they get ya.
They do. But this time I took my husband, and this time I went for a talkie retreat. It was the first time I sat and talked with other young people with metastatic disease. It was my first connection like that. And coming out of that experience, I suddenly found myself drawing about cancer. I started to show those drawings to other friends who are young and metastatic, and their reactions were across the board: you should share these more because they could help people feel less alone. Through connections, the editor at the Walrus magazine saw it for the online, the digital editor saw them and said, "Do you want to migrate these to our website?" And then quite shortly after that happened, a publisher approached me, a book publisher, and said, "I think you have the beginnings of a book here, if that's what you want," which was amazing. So I just took that opportunity and ran with it. I was like, yes, 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 yes to everything. And I wrote the book. It's 50% comics and 50% essays, and it's called In Between Days. I was at an advocacy day yesterday at Queen's Park for metastatic breast cancer, and I met people who had read the book and shared the book with their family as a way to start a conversation. That was my best wish for the book, was that it would find its way to people who could use it to help.
In Between Days, how did you come up with the title of that?
Like I say in the comic, I've always been fascinated with the spaces between, with all of the time I spend in liminal spaces like waiting rooms and doctor's offices and between scans and between, this is the space I occupy now. Instead of I'm not there, I'm not here, I'm not at work, I'm not, at school, I'm not at a place where I go solidly on a clear trajectory toward an end. I'm sort of suspended. I have to get used to that.
Sure.
That feeling of instability and uncertainty, and finding a way to be centered in that changeable, movable space.
Do you like the term new normal?
Do I like the term? It's funny, every time I go to my doctor's office, I have to fill out a little thing where one of the pages says whether I'm able to do things to a normal level.
Right.
And I still, almost 5 years in, will not check that top button because I'm like, no, this isn't normal. Right. No, I'm not normal. This is less than, but it is normal by now.
Yeah.
In so many ways.
Yeah.
I have found a kind of a place of stability within it, but it's taken me a while.
Yeah.
You know, and I can get bumped off kilter, just something like a bad scan, and I don't spiral as badly as I used to because I now have better tools. I have meditation. I have people I can talk to.
Such a monumental piece of this is taking care of what's going on here and in here. And you've touched on so many incredible parts of that, one of which being the reason why YAC even exists, which is connection.
Yeah.
And taking people out of isolation. That type of connection is invaluable. And I absolutely love that we've gotten to connect in that way.
Me too.
Thank you so much. If there is any parting wisdom, any advice that you have for newly diagnosed person with cancer, specifically if they've received the type of news that you did, that they are about to start living in between days, what are some parting words that you can say to them about how to live their best life during potentially their worst times?
Be kind to yourself. Like it's so easy to lose track of the good in your heart and the strength you do still have, which is so tremendous when you're feeling like things are being stripped away. But self-kindness can go a long way. Like making space to feel the feelings that are gonna wash over you. Let yourself cry, let yourself grieve. It's legitimate, it's the right thing to do. But also find joy wherever you can. I don't want to wait because I don't know what kind of time I have left, so I want to do now everything that I can do. Be an artist. Make art if you want to experience the world. I'm gonna live my life and see the world and go to Africa and see giraffes in the wild and see the temples in South America and just live the meaty parts of life now while I can. And then maybe science will catch up and come up with a durable treatment while I'm living my life as hard and as fast as I can, and then I'll get to live more. And I would wish the same thing for everybody facing what I'm facing. You got this.
You're so awesome.
You are amazing.
And you live more than most people that I've ever met. So way to take it and just make absolute beauty out of it. I love you.
Thank you so much.